Since polygraph testing was developed over 80 years ago, many advancements have been made and many arguments over the ethical implications of it have surfaced. Before the invention of the polygraph, it was almost impossible to determine whether someone was lying or telling the truth in the court of law. In 1921, a man by the name of John Augustus Larson invented the first lie detector. Larson was a medical student at the University of California, Berkeley, and a police officer at the Berkeley Police Department in Berkeley, California. His invention later made the Encyclopedia Britannica 2003's list of inventions that have had the most impact on the world. It was described as an invention that has had profound effects on human life, for better or for worse. When a test is being administered, the patient is first asked a series of questions that are obviously answered truthfully, such as their name, age, or date of birth. This is because the modern polygraph works by examining three main bodily functions: blood pressure, respiration, and skin conductivity. The belief behind the polygraph test is that when looking at deceptive and non-deceptive answers comparatively, a significant difference in data will be reported. Many advancements in polygraph testing have been made since its discovery in 1921. In ancient Chinese and Hindu civilizations, a lie would be detected by asking the suspect to chew a grain of rice and spit it out. In China, a dry grain of rice would signify the dry mouth of a liar, and in India, if a rice stuck to the inside of a suspect's mouth, it would indicate a sign of guilt. Since then, the science of lie detecting has come a very long way. In the late 19th century, an Italian criminologist by the name of Lombroso made it known that the suspect's blood pressure and heart rate would increase when untruthful answers were being given. In 1910, studies were done that concluded the rate of inhaling and exhaling would vary whether the person at hand was lying or telling the truth. Larson used these two theories to develop this invention. The first polygraph recorded the subject's blood pressure and breathing patterns and associated irregularities as lies. Larson based his prototype on two scientific studies, and since then, only one thing has been added to it in order to increase efficiency. In the 1920s, Leonard Keeler produced the hypothesis that a lying person would sweat more than a person that was telling the truth. If a person was lying, it would increase skin conductivity, which resulted in a cluster of negatively charged chloride ions on the skin. An extra appendage was added to the machine to detect this. Even though no new additions have been added since Keeler, many advancements have been made in the design of the polygraph. The thing that has been improved the most since then would be the retrieval and analysis of information from the subject. In the 70s and 80s, a version of the machine called the analog polygraph was used. It would analyze information by translating responses into electronic signals that were then recorded by various needles on a rolling scroll of paper. Though this device worked fine, advances in technology have resulted in a more sophisticated machine. The modern-day polygraph records and detects information by recording it on a computer monitor, which helps examiners identify irregularities in an easier and more efficient manner. Another thing that has not changed much since the invention of the polygraph would be arguments against it and the ethical implications of using it. There are many respected people and organizations that argue against the use of polygraphs. The National Academies of Science can be quoted saying, "In populations untrained in polygraph testing, it can discriminate lying at rates above chance, though below perfection." Despite the extensive research, the efficiency of this machine is still heavily debated in the scientific community because of how it works. Though it records symptoms of lying, there is no possible way for it to determine whether a subject is actually lying. The lie detector measures three main things during an examination: irregularities in perspiration, respiration, and cardiovascular activities. These symptoms are commonly associated with lying, but they are also present when a person is nervous. Since it is common for a person to be nervous while a polygraph test is being given, these are usually inadmissible in the court of law as evidence. Polygraph tests are also somewhat easily overcome if the subject correctly understands how it works. Ken Adler, a professor of history at Northwestern University in Chicago, can be quoted saying, "Polygraph tests can be easily beaten. You don't have to be a trained spy or a sociopath. You should have to understand how to recognize the control questions and augment reactions to them with techniques such as biting the inside of your tongue or solving a math equation in your head." Because it is also common for an innocent person to be nervous when accused of a crime, these tests are also inadmissible as evidence in most states. Now, polygraphs are mostly administered to witnesses and suspects in order to find new leads in police investigations. They are also used in the application process of federal employees. In conclusion, the polygraph has come very far since its prototype in 1921. Despite many arguments surrounding it, the lie detector is a very accomplished machine that is highly praised due to its influence on the world. Though it is usually disregarded in terms of evidence, there are many uses for it, and it will continue to be used and improved for years to come. If we have enough time, I'll film it.
Why?